councillor or councillors will also be informed. But when it comes to council applications, these are generally quite big things, and they don't just necessarily apply to just that ward that it is happening in. That, you know, these affect the whole of the city, and I think it's right and proper that we are able to allow that information to go out further. It may well be that the committee says this is not appropriate because there's too much going through, and maybe the answer is, but what we will do is we will increase that list that goes. It doesn't just go to ward councillors; it goes across to all councillors, so that they have an ability to call it in if it's something that they feel, whilst it's not in their ward, it does affect their ward. And as I said, it's about having an adult conversation. I'm not quite sure why there is this huge pushback against the possibility of increasing transparency for our council. I don't see why any councillor would not want to see the members of public having more opportunity to see what we do and how we go about things. Thank you.
Right, thank you. I'm going to hand to Rachel, so we move to the vote.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillors, we're now voting on the motion from Councillor Hogg in relation to planning applications. All those in favour, it's green, please. Yep. Okay, thank you. All those against, it's red, please. Okay. Any abstentions, please? Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, can't get my teeth in. The results are 8 in favour, 30 against and 20 abstentions. Therefore, this is defeated.
Thank you, Rachel. Right, we'll now move to item 13A, notification of changes to the executive delegations. These are changes made to the executive scheme of delegations, and this information on this can be found in the agenda pack. Councillor Fitzgerald, would you therefore like to move the recommendation?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm happy and would make the following statement. In September this year, I made a small change to my executive scheme of delegation in relation to discretionary rate relief. This amended the previous officer delegation to allow the Corporate Director for Resources to authorise discretionary rate relief under £500,000. Any rate relief over this amount remains within the authority of the Cabinet Member for Finance. The amendment was made in order to allow greater flexibility and efficiency when authorising smaller amounts of rate relief. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Coles, will you second the recommendations, either speaking now or reserving your right?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I second the recommendation and reserve my right to speak.
Can I call on any other speakers? That's no. Anything further to say, Councillor Coles?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This is just a very practical solution, and I'm grateful that everyone will be able to support this small change. Thank you.
Happy, Councillor Fitzgerald?
No, that's it, Mr Mayor. Thanks.
Are we all agreed? That's agreed then, Rachel. Thank you. Agenda item 14A, employment recommendation. This is in relation to the appointment to the position of Chief Executive and Head of Paid Salary and determination of salary. Information...
Head of Paid Service. It's the wrong word, it's a typo, sorry.
Beg your pardon, yeah, Head of Paid Service. Right, so this is in in relation to the appointment and position of Chief Executive and Head of Paid Service and determination of that salary. Information can be found in the agenda pack and exempt information pack. But before we begin the debate for this item, members must consider whether to move into exempt session. Therefore, members, I move that item 14A be exempt, as defined by paragraph 4 of Schedule 12A of Part 1 of the Local Government Act 1972, in that it contains information relating to contemplated consultations or negotiations in connection with a labour relations matter arising between the authority and employees or office holders of the authority, and the press and public be excluded from the meeting when this is discussed. Is this agreed? Councillor Sanford.
We're going to support this because it's really important that we have a chief executive, but I do find it concerning that we're having to go into exempt session to appoint, to actually declare who the chief executive that's already been recommended by the Employment Committee, and also to determine the salary when we're legally obliged to publish all the salaries of senior officers that are earning over £100,000. So I'm certainly not going to recommend voting against it, but the whole process just gives me cause for concern in the interests of openness and transparency.
He already have it. Do you want me to have some? I don't think so, no.
Thank you. That's just the way it is, Councillor Sanford. I'm afraid so. Thank you. So, can we exclude the press and public? Councillor Murphy, did you have a point?
I don't actually want to support the recommendation, but I don't think there's a need to exclude the press and public. The reason I don't want to support is contained within the exempt report, but I'm not going to bang on about it. But you know, what do councillors think? We can just go to the decision, can't we?
Well, that's what we're voting on right now, thank you.
No, your decision is to exclude the press and public. I'm not sure we actually need to, because I think we're just going to move straight to the
Well, if you disagree,
decision.
then you can vote against it. Right, moving to the vote. Rachel?
Are we agreed
Is there a general agreement?
Yes, we're agreed. We're agreed.
Sorry to interrupt. What have we agreed to exclude the press and public? Thank you.
We're agreeing to remove the press and the public to make this an exempt item. Okay, is that agreed? Thanks, it's agreed.
That's agreed then, thank you.